I look beautiful.
We look beautiful.
I said me. Hi.
Damn, that's harsh. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with a dual vlog, and today we're gonna do some chopping and cutting on the NB, which is slightly terrifying.
Yeah, it really is.
So, what are we gonna be doing? Well, thanks to my wonderful supporter, Spike Performance, we will be installing some Spike Performance hood louvers on an NB Miata. Now, you guys seen me do the NA
and
one.
the sticker.
And the sticker too. You guys see me do the NA one, so we're gonna do a full video instruction on the NB and how to do that. We will be removing the hood. So yeah, we're gonna do step by step and follow along. She might even do some cutting.
Whoa. I literally was about to say, and by we, you.
I'll be doing some cutting. Yeah, let's get started. So first you're gonna need to order a set of these phenomenal, durable hood louvers from Spike Performance. I will leave a link in the description. We're gonna start by popping the hood open, get everything disconnected, taking the hood off. I recommend taking the hood off because it minimizes anything that could go wrong to the rest of the car, especially when you have such a nice paint job like the limited edition one here. So we're gonna get this hood off and then we're gonna go from there. All right, here's a list of things we need to get this job done. You're gonna start with hood vents from spikeperformance.com. Get yourself a drill and a drill bit. The sharper the bit, the better you are, but get whatever you have. A roll of tape, anything works. I have duct tape here and some automotive tape from AutoZone and whatnot. Get yourself a pen. You're gonna have to mark things down and measure things out. A socket set, 14mm to get that hood off. Get yourself a rivet gun. I got this at Harbor Freight. It was super cheap. It doesn't have to be important, but you're gonna need one to get this job done. Next, get yourself a grinder. A Dremel will work. I prefer this thin grinder. It gets the job done faster. Something to cover the paint up. This is just a set of lawn bags from Home Depot, something you can cut over, but you have to have something to protect the paint. So this is what I just happen to use. Next, a tape measure and safety glasses. You're gonna have to cut some stuff. You're also gonna have to measure some stuff out. And then also, I'm taking the hood off, so get yourself something to hold the hood with. These are a set of horse stands from Lowe's. They were like 30 bucks a piece and they work really well, but this is the stuff you need to get the job done. All right, cool. Now that we got all the things we need all ready to go, we're gonna start the process of taking the hood off. Gonna get the horse stand set up. I got these from Harbor Freight. They were like 30 bucks a piece. They haven't failed me yet. They did one time, but that's user error. I put way too much weight on it, but they'll work perfectly for a Miata hood, or you can even get some wood ones, or you can get a trash can. There's many things you can do. This is just what I'm gonna do. So, you're gonna help me get the hood off. First thing we're gonna do is very carefully remove the windshield washer line. I'm just gonna twist it back and forth, loosen it up real quick. They're very brittle. Just keep that in mind. Pull that off, set it out of the way. Now you can proceed to pull the hood off. I'm gonna need 2 hands for this, but I'm gonna break these loose. All right, now with a friend, you're gonna have to get this off. So we're gonna put you on a tripod.
All right, Sabine and I are gonna take this off. Friend has been acquired. Okay, you get on this side. She's naked. We spread her out. Boom, boom.
What we're gonna do now is we're gonna grab our templates from the box. Get them ready. We're gonna start the measuring process. NA and NB, the louvers are the same. The measuring points are different. So if you wanna see how to do the NA, go to my previous video. I have the full NA install on the race car. What we're gonna start with is we're gonna measure from these corners, 75mm, or in this case, about 3 inches, because it's like 2.9 inches. From this corner here, I'm going to measure approximately 3 inches. I'm gonna use a Sharpie. Sharpie comes off with rubbing alcohol, so 3 inches there. Then we're gonna go to the other side and do the same thing. 3 inches. I put ceramic coating on here, so it's definitely not one to stick. So once that is done, we're gonna take our tape, we're gonna put the tape below the line we made. So I'm gonna start right there. Gotta get as close as possible. This is what I like to do. I like to take this, careful not to yank your hood off. Stretch it naturally across. And we're gonna line it up as best as possible. Straight as possible, like that. And that'll leave us with a straight line going all the way across. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna measure from the corners. And we're gonna go in from this corner to here, about 290 millimeters or 11.5 inches. It's technically 11.4, but for some measurement sakes, we're gonna do 11.5 inches. So we're gonna go from this corner on the top of the line, and we're gonna go to 11.5. And we're gonna make a mark right here. Go down. Do right about there. Once you got your 75 millimeters up from the corners, 290 to the center here, you're going to take the stencil they provide you with, peel it off. Obviously be careful not to fold on itself. Where the 290 mark is, or the 11.5, you're going to line this up as best as we can with the very end of it. So just kind of be careful. We're going to use the tape line as a straight edge, but we're going to line this up, this edge piece up with that. So we're going to get it as straight as possible, as nice and even as possible before applying the vinyl. So about like that. Just going to carefully apply the vinyl as evenly as possible. Like I said, we're going to measure this edge here with that line. So you see how it's kind of lined up? And then we're using this tape as a straight edge. And we're just going to repeat the same process on the other side. Then once that's done, pull this off. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to remove this towards the end anyways. Like so. Boom. Okay, so what I'm doing here is, as you can see, the louvers have holes, and that's where you're going to put your rivets. He's nicely provided the templates with the pre-built holes, but sometimes they don't come out, so I'm taking an X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to carefully reach under there and peel the hole spots up. I always double check where they're lined up anyways, because sometimes these don't line up after you drill them. Just natural how things happen, but this kind of just gives you a little easier reference point for like pre-drilling. Now what I'm gonna do is I like to pre-drill the holes for these before I cut anything out. That allows this, because this is gonna be a lot more sturdy with this intact than without it. It'll be kind of flimsy. So I'm going to run some tape on the outside of this just in case you slip with the drill bit. This just kind of prevents you from scratching up your paint. Now, everything on the outside of these lines is gonna show. Just keep that in mind. So everything on the outside of this is gonna show. Anything from here in is all gonna be hidden. So this is just like an extra precaution I like to take, especially when you're doing things on stuff that's not a race car, stuff that's gonna be daily and more of a, I guess in a sense, show car or street track driven. You know, you don't wanna damage it. So these are all 1/8 inch holes. So you're gonna wind up using an 1/8 inch drill bit, but I like to pre-drill the holes with a smaller bit first. It just makes it easier, like a step drilling basically. It makes it easier to drill the hole. So I'm starting with, I happen to have a 5/64 bit, and we're gonna do all the holes, and then we're gonna go back over with the 1/8 inch. So here we go. And we just repeat the same process on this side. Okay, now that we got the pilot holes drilled, we're gonna step up to the 1/8 inch drill bit, and we're gonna do the same process again, but we're gonna drill it out to 1/8 inch. But this time we're gonna let her do it.
Yeah.
Okay. See, it's all pre-drilled, so
Yeah.
all you gotta do is follow the line.
What if I don't? Do I have to put pressure down?
A little bit, not too much. It's on slow mode, so go a little faster than that. There you go.
Ah, that was terrifying.
So after I go through and did all the 1/8 drilling, I kind of just want to test fit these rivets and make sure they fit before we go any further. So if they don't fit, go through and kind of get the holes a little bigger. Just make sure they fit snugly. If you do this first, it kind of saves you time in the long run. So I ended up doing a 9/64 bit, and that kind of gives you perfect amount. It's where it's still snug, not a lot of play. So after we drill all the holes, we're gonna protect the hood. I pretty much used the Home Depot lawn bag that I had laying around and probably a whole roll of tape. I know it looks ridiculous, but trust me, if you have to buy 3 whole rolls of tape to cover your hood because you don't have any lawn bag, I guarantee you that is cheaper than having to repaint your hood. So we've got it all covered. Now we're gonna go to what the second most scary part is, which is cutting these holes out. You should go back down. I should probably tape that down. Let me tape that. Okay, so here comes the terrifying part. Cutting into the paint. If you're really not comfortable with this, go grab a buddy who knows how to do it. If not, take your time. I have faith in everybody. You can't learn unless you don't try. So I use 4 1/4 cut-off wheel. Got it from Harbor Freight. You can get all this stuff from Harbor Freight. And I take my time. The faster you go, the hotter it gets and the more likely you are to bubble your paint. So literally just take your time with it, do light passes. Make sure you at least wear safety glasses and some gloves, because if these break, I promise you it's not gonna be a good outcome. So I just happen to have a grinding mask or welding shield and some thick gloves because I have a welder. So that's what I'm gonna be wearing. But just mask up, stay safe, and take your time. Promise you the outcome's gonna be fine. They also say when you're cutting on the inside of this line here. So this is the outside of the stencil, you're cutting on the inside. Don't be afraid, if you go just a little past this, you're fine. Like I said, the stencil part gets covered. So everywhere that stencil end is where it gets covered. If you go past the stencil, then you're gonna have a problem. But take your time. Next, we're gonna go into cutting this little frame out, but I'm gonna do this side first, and then we'll go back and cut the interior frame. A little tip when you're cutting, I wanna point out that you see these little holes here, gloves off, the holes in this top right, same thing for this side. As you can see how close it is, when you're cutting into it, what I recommend doing is cutting this line first. Don't be afraid to go a little over and then cut this way to cut it off, because you might accidentally cut your hole out, and that hole is important for your rivets. So cut this way first on both of them, and then cut into it from cut this way first on both of them, and then cut into it, causing it to fall out. Just, you know, avoid cutting your rivet holes out. All right, so I'm gonna try to leave all this stuff on. What I am gonna do is peel a little of this back out of the way here. Now we're gonna pull the stencil off. That. You can grab your stencil, or your louver. Alright, got that in there. How to lose rivets 101. Just dump them all out on the hood. Make sure you put the right size rivet tip on there, because, you know, that makes a big difference. There we go. Look at that. It's almost like it's supposed to be that way. Now, we'll do some riveting. Look at that, boom. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Once this is all riveted in, do the same thing to the other side. Some of these holes you can see, this one's not so bad. You can see how the inner structure a little bit interferes with the hole. You might have to just take a screwdriver in there and stretch them apart, and then rivet the glue, and then rivet the rivets in. So once you kind of stretch this apart a little bit, you can rivet that in. Now that the vents are installed, it's time for the fun part, unmasking everything. Do you want to unmask it?
Sure.
Okay.
We'll start down here.
Doesn't matter. Wherever you want to start. Look. Instant race car. What do you think?
I like it.
Why'd you shrug? Why'd you shrug your shoulders?
Huh?
You shrugged your shoulders.
No, like, I like it. No, I really like it. I want to put it on now. Let's put the hood back on.
Yeah, let's put the hood back on. So basically, putting the hood back on is the exact same steps, but backwards. Definitely takes two people, and I'll show you a little tip to align them once we kind of get it on there. So once you get it on, I'm going to show you something. As you can see here, do you see how there's no paint on certain parts? You kind of see this outline here? There's no paint. What you want to do is line it up as best as possible with the paint marks. And you're basically going to hide, so right here, we're going to make those paint marks non-existent. Might take a little finagling. You want to get as close as possible, whether that's pushing it up and down, left and right. Like right about there. What that's doing is getting the hinges and bolts back in the factory location. There we go. Better example. See how I am manipulating this? There we go, like that. And then once you kind of get it good, snug it down, and you should be good to go. If you cannot see this and they look really lined up, that's back to the factory location. So what I'm gonna do is a test close here. Make sure it's not hitting any of your fenders on both sides. I wouldn't slam it, I bring it down slowly, like that. I'm gonna check the sides here. They look good to me. Give it a good close. Look at that. Pretty much the factory gaps all the way across.
It's on a new level.
Look at that. I don't know, keep it up. This might become more of a race car than it is a road car. Those look good. So, the whole purpose of this is, normally in a race car, is to extract the heat, but nicely enough on a daily driver too. Especially in the summer when you're running AC, it's just going to allow extra heat and pressure to escape from underneath the car and go out. And that way your engine bay is going to maintain a better temperature and things will just function a little better. Plus, they look good. Last thing we got to do here is let everyone know where we got this from. Careful. Careful. Boom. Spiked performance.
Gotta love the stickers.
High five.
Plus 10 HP.
Right? And there you have it, guys. Spiked performance hood louvers install on an NB Miata. I want to give a huge shout out to Spiked Performance for supporting me and all I do, and for letting me do this for you guys. They've been a huge part of last year's racing, and they're being a huge part of next year's. So like I said, thank you, Jim, from Spiked Performance, for everything you do. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of the Spiked Performance hood louver installs. Let me know what you think. Did you guys go ahead and do this? Would you not do this? Would you do it the daily? I personally think I would, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. Also, if you guys want to know how to install it on an NA, go back to my previous video where I install it on the race car which is an NA chassis. See you guys at the track. High five.